Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 3, text 40. One second. Indriyani mano buddhir asyadhisthanamuchyate etairvimohayati esha gnanamavritya dehinam. Now Krishna has given what is our eternal enemy, that is lust. Kama rupena nitya vairina. Krishna has already revealed that enemy. Now Krishna is also going to reveal the strategic positions where the enemy is located. So he says this enemy, lust, is located in these locations. Indriyani mano buddhihi asya adhishthanam uchyate. Asya means this lust. Asya adhishthanam, the lust's resting place, is indriyani mano buddhi, the senses, mind and intelligence. Etair vimohayati esha. Through these, etaihi indriyani manaha buddhihi esha, this lust, vimohayati, it bewilders us through these three things. And thereby, gnanam avritya dehinam, thereby it covers the knowledge of the spirit soul. So, Krishna Prabhupada very nicely mentions in the purport, the enemy has captured different strategic positions in the body of the conditioned soul. And therefore Lord Krishna is giving hints of those places, so that one who wants to conquer the enemy may know where he can be found. Mind is the center of all activities of the senses, and thus the mind is the reservoir of all ideas of sense gratification. And as a result, the mind and the senses become the repositories of lust. So, as we know, mind is always wanting sense gratification, and through senses, it gives a vent to these lusty activities. So, the mind and senses are therefore the repositories of this lust. So, when somebody is waging a battle in a war, usually, yes, there is a threat from the enemies, which is big. We need to strategize and defeat the enemies. But this threat from within is even bigger. So we have to watch out for the traitors in the camp, or soldiers within our own camp disguised who can kill us. We think they are our friends. So there is this, if you are aware of computers, there is a computer virus. Virus means that which attacks these computers and it spoils and it erases the data, it steals the data and those kind of things. So there is one virus called Trojan horse virus. It's very interesting how it got that name. So long ago, hundreds of years ago, in Europe, there was a fight between two countries. And so one country, they accepted the defeat and they wanted to make truce with the other dominant country. And so they arranged for the truce, and this weaker country came and they had a talk, we will be subservient to you and all of that. And the stronger country also accepted. And as gesture, the weaker country gave a gift to this stronger country's king. So the king took that gift and kept it in his room. So this gift was basically a wooden horse, a big wooden horse. So the king keeps the wooden horse in his chambers, inner chambers. And how it is constructed is this wooden horse, it's a huge wooden horse with a hollow inside. There were some soldiers hidden in it, disguised. So, unknown, this wooden horse was brought to the inner chambers, and during the night, these people they came out of the wooden horse. They manufactured it in such a way that there are some holes and they can open it through strategic points, and they come out and attack the inner chambers, kill all the people, including the king, and take over the kingdom. So, how it is disguised as something else? It is disguised as a gift, as a horse, but internally there are deadly enemies. So, the computer also, when you see some nice website and you click it, oh, if you click it, you will win a prize, or something very attractive picture they'll put. And the moment you click it, a virus is downloaded to your computer. You are inviting that virus. And the virus will open up and spread everywhere and steal everything, and it will kill the system. So likewise, through our mind and senses, through watching different sense objects, we are inviting different Trojan horses. The lust is hiding in these objects. And through these objects, we think it is safe, but actually the lust has entered our mind and senses, and it is going to expand and cause damage. It is our enemy, Nitya Vairina, and it covers our knowledge. So more than the external threat, what we call as enemies that hamper my progress on the material field, we have to watch out for these inner enemies. So we should not blame the external situation for our sinful engagement, but we need to blame our own mentality. It is the lusty mentality that make us see the situation as an opportunity for enjoyment. If we didn't have the lusty mentality, we would see the situation differently. Like, for example, Haridas Thakur, he was chanting every day 192 rounds of Hare Krishna mantra, 300,000 names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So there was this zamindar of that village who became envious. So who wanted to denigrate him, and he sends this prostitute to allure him, so that when she captures his attention and unites with him, and there will be a constable who would catch them, and thereby he can sully the reputation of Haridas Thakur. But Haridas Thakur, he saw the situation differently. He thought of delivering that lowly person instead of enjoying that person. And he said, oh, I still need to, I'll satisfy your request, but I need to first finish my oath of chanting Hare Krishna mantra. He kept on chanting throughout the night, and she kept on hearing. And at the end of 3 days, so he kept on doing the same trick for 3 nights. And at the end of the 3rd night, she became a devotee, completely purified because of the pure chanting of Namacharya Haridas Thakur. And so how Haridas Thakur treated that situation differently compared to how Ajamila saw the situation. Ajamila also saw a similar situation when he encountered that romantic scene between 2 people, and his mind was polluted. So if your mind is not strong, then you will fall for the lusty, attractive thing. The Trojan horse will easily enter. You cannot figure out if it's good for me or not. So we need to strengthen our mind with Krishna consciousness. So a devotee mentality is that wherever there is no Krishna, he refrains from engagement. And wherever there is Krishna, he engages. So when in Bhagavatam, we know this Leela, when Krishna, he was fighting with this Kaliya serpent. So at one moment, Krishna appeared to have drowned in the poisonous waters of Yamuna, poisoned by Kaliya. And the Vrajavasis became shocked. And Nanda Maharaj, he told Mother Yashoda, so Krishna has gone into the water and now there is no need any longer to maintain our bodies, which are full of sinful activities. Let us also enter into this poisonous water of the Yamuna and compensate for the sinful activities of our lives. So that was the kind of shock they were in when they saw Krishna leaving. They didn't want to do anything with the place or anything which is not with Krishna. Where there is no Krishna. Similarly, when Krishna left Vrindavan, there was his intimate friend Subala. He decided to leave also. Because he thought, he was contemplating that without Krishna there was no longer any pleasure in Vrindavan. And there was an analogy given. The bees, if there is a flower, it has no honey, the bee cannot go there. The bee won't go there. So Subala also left Vrindavan when he found that there was no longer any relishable transcendental pleasure there. But we get allured by the external appearance of a flower without seeing the spirit, whether there is honey in it or not. So similarly, it is said that one time Srimati Radharani, she addressed her friends, my dear friend, if I cannot hear of the glorious activities of Krishna, it is better for me to become deaf. And because I am now unable to see him, it would be good for me to be a blind woman. So like this. In nature, we find beautiful examples, like the bee example. When a mosquito is about to hone in on us, it is said that first the mosquito, he passes by the ear, isn't it? Zun, zzz, ring, buzz, ring will come. So the super soul is giving you a chance. Oh, Paramatma is telling us, oh, here is the mosquito. He's giving an indication. Similarly, it seems the tigers, wherever they go, it seems there is a small rodent, a small animal, a rodent like a rat kind of an animal. It follows the tiger and it keeps making sound that from the little noise just about when the tiger is about to strike on the deer, so that the deer can flee and be saved if it is conscious about that sound. So likewise, but you have to be conscious of that sound. You have to tune to that sound. So similarly, there are radio channels, all kinds of programs are going. Based on where you are tuned to, that channel you can hear. So Paramatma is always speaking through this mosquito, through this rodent. Paramatma is always, when you encounter something, he is speaking. But if you are tuned to it, you can hear him. That is called proper intelligence. But what we are tuned to right now, we are tuned to our lusty intelligence, another channel. So we keep hearing all kinds of sense gratificatory things. We don't hear what Paramatma is trying to help us. The super soul Krishna is always trying to help us from within, giving us intelligence. So that intelligence, when Krishna gives strongly to us, that is when we try to engage in his service. When we sincerely desire to engage in his service, Krishna gives that intelligence, make us tuned. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. But if you are not tuned, we become careless and we hear only lusty intelligence. And so Prabhupada mentions in the purport, the lusty intelligence, after the mind and senses, the intelligence department becomes the capital of such lustful propensities. Intelligence is the immediate next door neighbor of the spirit soul. Lusty intelligence influences the spirit soul to acquire the false ego and identify itself with matter, and thus with mind and senses. So, we should not have lusty intelligence, when we should cultivate Krishna conscious intelligence, and that Krishna gives when we are tuned to him by serving Krishna. It is said, if you take the example of Ramayana, same family, you take Ravana's family. Ravana was there and his entourage, Rakshasas, but there was Vibhishana also. While these Rakshasas were prone to sinful activities, all kinds of sinful activities, Vibhishana, he was free from all these defects that are usually found with his brothers. He kept on opposing Ravana. But because Ravana was raging in a fever of lust and desire, Ravana could not hear the instruction of Vibhishana. He was not tuned. He was tuned to his lusty intelligence was tuning him to another opportunity for enjoyment. So we need to cultivate spiritual intelligence. Like Vibhishana, he was guided by the Paramatma. Similarly, if we cultivate Krishna conscious intelligence, we'll be guided by Paramatma and the devotees. Like when Krishna, when he went to Mathura, there was this girl called Kubja, this hunchback woman. She pleased him by, serving Krishna. She invited him home, and so Krishna went to her home, and she pleased him in all kinds of ways by offering sandalwood and all of that. So Krishna satisfied her desire. Before that, actually, she was a hunchback woman, and when Krishna embraced her, he converted her to a beautiful society girl. So the society girls, they invite the clients. So she was actually captivated by a lusty desire to satisfy her senses with Krishna. So Krishna decided to go to the house. Of course, he certainly had no desire for sense gratification. By supplying the sandalwood pulp to Krishna, Kubja had already satisfied his senses. But on the plea of sense gratification, he decided to go to her house, not actually for sense gratification, but to turn her into a pure devotee. See, Krishna is always served by thousands of goddesses of fortune. He has no need to satisfy his senses by going to a society girl. So Krishna went to give his mercy, and Krishna stayed with her, and she became fully purified, and she became a pure devotee of the Lord. So you see how even if you start to desire to serve Krishna, Krishna takes part actively in your life. But unfortunately, people, for want of this knowledge, they try to engage with their lusty intelligence, and they're assimilating, accumulating these enemies within. So Chaitanya Charitamrita explains the difference between love and lust. So the desire for satisfying one's own senses is called kama. Atmendriya trupti vancha taranam kam. And the desire for satisfying Krishna's senses is love, prema. Krishnendriya trupti ichha dhare premnam. So in the spiritual world, or when you become spiritual, there is no question of lust. Even though you see the gopis are so attracted to Krishna, it might appear to be lusty activity. No, but that is not lust. Anything which is done to satisfy the senses of Krishna, it is not lust. To satisfy your own senses, that is lust. So when there was Brahma Vimohana Leela, we know how he was illusioned by Krishna when he wanted to put Krishna in illusion. And when he came to his senses and realized his tiny nature, he saw the super excellent view of Vrindavan, full with trees, and he could appreciate the transcendental land of Vrindavan, where all the living entities are transcendental to ordinary nature. It is said that in the forest of Vrindavan, even ferocious animals like tigers and others live peacefully along with the deer and human beings. So Brahma could understand that because of the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Vrindavan, that place is transcendental to all other places, and there is no lust and greed there. Similarly, when Krishna was discussing with the gopis, when he was so pleased with them, when they came for Rasa Leela, he told them, "Oh, my dear girls, I know of your desire for me, why you worshipped goddess Katyayani." They all wanted Krishna as their husband. They worshipped goddess Katyayani. And Krishna said, "I completely approve of your action. Anyone whose consciousness is fully absorbed in me, even if is in lust, is elevated." And he gives a wonderful example. So you see a seed, you sow a seed, it can fructify, isn't it? But a fried seed, if you fry the seed and sow it, it won't fructify. So Krishna said, anything in connection with Krishna's service, it won't produce any fruitive result. But anything done for yourself, it produces fruitive result, which is ordinarily called karma. We get karmic reaction because we do something for our own sense gratification, for our own lust. There is a reaction, suffering. But when it is done for Krishna, it is like sowing that fried seed. There is no scope for any reaction. As Brahma Samhita also confirms, Karmani nirdahati kintu cha bhakti bhajam Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Yastvindra gopamadhavendra mahosva karma Bandhanurupa phalabhajanamathanoti. So everyone in this world, in this existence, is bound by their fruitive activities. Whether he has become Indra and is reaping the benefit of his previous karma, or he has become the insect Indra Gopa. There is an insect called Indra Gopa which is suffering the reaction of his previous activities. They have to bear the fruit of karma. But Kintu karmani nirdahati, for bhakti bhajam, for those engaged in the service of Krishna, for satisfying the Lord, for them there is no reaction. So it is clarified in Krishna book that the gopis' attitude towards Krishna, although seemingly lusty, should not be considered to be like the lusty desires of ordinary women. Because activities in devotional service to Krishna are transcendental to any fruitive result. So Prabhupada also mentions that in the purport, he quotes this sloka, how the lusty intelligence makes us think we are this body. And he quotes this sloka from Bhagavatam. Yasyatma buddhi kunape tridhatuke swadhi kalatraadhishu bhauma ijjadhihi yattirda buddhihi salilena karhichit janeshu abhigneshu sa eva gokharaha. What it means is, by lusty intelligence, we consider ourselves to be this body made of three dhatu. It's a body is a bag made of three elements: kapha, pitta, vayu, according to Ayurveda. We are spirit soul, but we consider ourselves to be this body. And we consider the bodily extensions, kalatradishu, as our own. So there was one satsang I attended. So one child was asking, when I stated, we are not the body, we are the soul. So he was asking, what is a soul? Because he has seen only body. At least the adults understand what is soul. So he was asking, what is soul? So I called him and played the same trick as Prabhupada would play sometimes. So I asked him, who are you? So he said, I am a person. My name is such and such. So I pointed to his hand. Are you this hand? No, I am not this hand. And I said, are you this leg? No, I am not this leg. Are you this head? No, I am not this head. So like that, I kept on asking. So if you are not this nothing, then who are you? So then he started to get, okay. So then I explained, you are a particle, a spirit soul in the body. You're driving this machine, this body you're driving. Just like a driver sits in the car and drives the car. He is not the car. He is somebody else. That is soul. You cannot see it because the car is covered from outside. Similarly, within your body, there is a spirit soul in the heart region that is driving you. But unfortunately, practically, we are considering ourselves only as a body because of lusty intelligence. That's what Prabhupada says in the purport. Lusty intelligence influences the spirit soul to acquire the false ego and identify itself with matter and thus with the mind and senses. I'll stop here. Anyone has any questions or comments? Feel free to unmute yourself. Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.